and it's been filed with the Commission, but you don't have to go through it. But the only answer is, as a responsible minister, you took precautionary measures to ensure that your decision was legally sound.
I did.
Yes.
That's correct.
Now, there are a couple of small points that I just want to take you through them to make sure that you can clarify. There was a reference to the work study, and it seemed that there was a bit of confusion about page 200 and 201. So if you go to that work study, I think it's the Murray report. Yes, it's the Murray report. And particularly, if you turn over the page to 201, the references in paragraph 8.1 and 8.10. The first reference at page 201, have you got it, Minister?
I'm trying to get it.
So just go to 201. Yeah, it should be in the bundle of your annexures.
Page 201.
201, yes.
Yes, I think this is the one. Is it this one? Because this one is 7. I think it is this one. Or in this bundle.
Yeah, in your it's one of the bundles to your statement.
Yeah, this one. 201, yes.
Yes, if you go to paragraph 8.9,
Yes.
there was some confusion here about what this paragraph is about, and you seem to have a particular view that was not shared by the evidence leader. It says, no task teams be established without written and approved documentation from the provincial commissioner indicating the start date and estimated end date, as well as dates for impact analysis on a quarterly basis.
Yes, that's what the statement says.
On a quarterly basis to measure the feasibility of continuation for such teams. So what is being referred to here? I personally cannot work it out what this sentence is about.
What I have since established in terms of, in an effort to clarify this, is that this, as I indicated earlier, it applies to provincial, or it applies to teams that are operating in the province, which, unlike what we did when we were talking with Commissioner Baloyi, it was a question of existence and operating.
Yeah, no, I think that's a different issue that I'm going to come to that issue.
Okay.
You are talking about a different document. So this refers to a task team being established without an approval of the provincial commissioner. That's what I don't understand. Is this?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. What is this talking about?
No, it's talking about what they were doing, because they had decided that, look, let us stop the proliferation of loose and teams, task teams that are not accountable, and so on. They then say, in order to control that, in order to minimize that,
Yes.
no task teams be established without written and approved documentation from the provincial commissioner. Yes. It means that at a provincial level, the provincial commissioner must know what task team is being established elsewhere. Say in a district, it can't be established without the provincial commissioner signing and so on, indicating the start and estimated date as all. So it points to provincial task teams because it talks to provincial commissioner and all of it.
But it's about new task teams that will be established in the future.
That they must not, if they get established at all, it can't be without.
Yes. And then 8.10 also was the subject of some confusion. It says current task teams be subjected to an impact analysis by organizational development and strategic management in the province to ensure the feasibility of the existing teams. So what is this talking about? I mean, Would this apply to the PKTT?
Now, that's what I was thinking that you were referring to earlier, and said earlier we got entangled in our conversation and got confused.
I understand, but is this about? Would this apply to the PKTT?
It would apply to the provinces, to the province, in the sense that it talks about current task teams.
Yes.
Now, among the teams that currently existed at the time of the analysis, the PKTT was one of those that were operational in the province. So it talks about current operating task teams, just to
I think you're talking about a different paragraph, which is 6.4.1. Yeah, I think you're talking about 6.4.5.1. I'm still going to go to that at page 191.
Yes.
But what I'm asking about 8.9 and 8.10, they both refer to the provincial commissioner or the organizational development and strategic management in the province.
In the province.
Now, on the first blush, it creates the impression that this is talking about provincial task teams.
Yes, it does.
I understand, but is that correct? That's what I'm trying to clarify.
What it refers to is it talks to all task teams existing in the province.
But okay, that's fine. But if you then go to 6.4.5.1 at page 191, which was also the subject, I think, of lack of clarity. Have you got that, page 191?
Yes.
No, I mean, I appreciate that you didn't write this, and you were not even there at the time it was written. Where is Commissioner Murray at the moment? Is he still within the SAPS?
He's still within SAPS.
All right, well, maybe he can give an affidavit explaining what he was talking about. It says the task teams that are not monitored run rampant for years without determining or accounting for the gap left where the members were taken from, mostly at station level. Task teams found operating in the provinces are as follows. So that's what you wanted to explain. Just explain that, because the reason you have to explain is because the answer you gave to Commissioner Baloyi is not consistent with the answer in your statement at paragraph 41.
Yes.
And it's possible that it's too late in the day, that it's caused by confusion. And that's why it's necessary, because Commissioner Baloyi asked
Yes.
a specific question,
Yes.
and then you gave an answer that differs from your statement.
Yes. The difference is operating in the province as follows. Operating. I think in that situation, what I missed was confusing existence and operating. So it says there, operating in the province, which would be inclusive of PKTT in this instance. And that is what, so that bullet, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 from bottom would include PKTT, because
Yes.
it's operating in the province.
Yes, I mean, the other confusion that came up from the answer you gave earlier was you sought to distinguish political matters team from the political killings task team, when your statement actually treats those two as the same thing.
Correct.
But which one is correct?
You mean murder and robbery? Or?
No. If you look there from the bottom,
Yes.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the phrasing there is political matters team.
Oh, yes.
So when you were asked by Commissioner Baloyi,
Yes.
you said, no, political matters team is not the same thing as the political killings task team.
No,
But-
I should straighten that, because at that time, I thought it would refer to things in case of KZL, like 2011, like.
No,
which
I
we
don't need
discussed
an
Yeah.
explanation.
It's
What
the
I-
same, it's the same.
Yes, so the two answers you gave to Commissioner Baloy are wrong answers. This paragraph 6.4.51 includes the PKTT, that's number one.
It does, yes.
And then number two, the phrase political matters team is the same as the PKTT.
It is the same.
All right, thank you
It
very
is the
much.
same. To
Thank you.
correct that, yes.
Then there's also a problem with some of the evidence you gave on human rights abuses. When it comes to the human rights topic, I wasn't sure what you mean. Let me explain why. The one time you said you took into account human rights abuses flowing from the statements of Mary de Haas and Ms. Mashele. Then on the other, you said you did not take them into account in that context. Now, I couldn't understand what do you mean, because on the one side, those statements are mutually in conflict with one another, and they do not appear to be reconcilable. Can you just explain, this confusion away, because you're now going to leave the commissioners, and I don't want them to be left not knowing what you're saying. They may disagree, but they must at least know what you're saying.
We talked about this for quite some time. I did say, one, I became aware of whatever was sent, either sent to me, in this case by Mary de Haas. I confirmed that I did receive, even though I didn't respond substantively.
No, that's not where the problem is. The problem
Yes.
is whether you took them into account in your decision making. And it's not about the weight that you gave them.
Yes, I took them into, a straightforward answer is that I did take them into consideration,
Yes.
not minding the weight that we ended up speaking about.
Yes, because your statement says that you did take them into account.
Yes.
Yes. Now, there was also something said about about Ms. Mashele. I want to just take you to page 359. Because the point that was made was that she doesn't talk about the PKTT. So if I can take you to, starting at page 359. So if you recall the context to it, you were saying
Yes.
Ms. Mashele raised allegations of human rights violations by the PKTT on her Facebook post, which there was a debate, did you take them into account or not? But then the comment that came was that Ms. Mashele did not speak about violations of human rights by the PKTT, okay? Now, if you look at 359, the third paragraph, which starts with Kumalo. Can you read that?
Kumalo has been doing exactly what Richard Mdluli did. He captured crime intelligence by appointing friends and family in strategic positions. Two of his brothers are working at the political task team, victimizing and harassing hardworking members because of their brother in charge.
Because their brother are in charge.
Their brother are in charge.
Yes.
Yes.
Now, to victimize and to harass people, is that a violation of human rights?
It is.
If you then go to page 368, which is another statement by Mashele, by Ms. Mashele. Have you got that?
Yes, I've got
And
it.
it's dated the 14th of November, 2024.
Correct.
And what does it say?
It says, quote, how the political task team abused their powers and on instruction of Begicele arrested two forensic investigators who were investigating the corruption at Fort Hare University.
Yes, and then it continues.
Even the National Intervention Unit was part of the Hollywood-style arrest, and the forensic investigators still don't know why they were arrested.
Yes, and then the last paragraph.
The one that starts with the link.
This is the link, yes.
This is the link to a letter Professor Meriti Haas wrote to Parliament and the Minister regarding the resources that were misused to affect the arrest, I'm sure to effect the arrest.
Now, that reference in the first paragraph to the political task team and Fort Hare University, what reference is that about?
That paragraph is in relation to the activities of the political killings task team in Fort Hare in investigating the alleged criminality.
Yes. And then your statement then specifically refers to the human rights abuses at Fort Hare
Yes,
in
correct.
relation to the task team.
Correct.
Yes. And specifically references, is it Professor Berger or Ms. Berger?
Ms. Becker.
Yes. Now, at the time you wrote, you were relying on media reports of what she was saying. Is that correct?
Correct.
I mean, sorry, at the time you issued the instruction.
Correct.
Yes. But she has subsequently filed a statement under oath. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Which is annexed to your bundle as SM16.
Correct.
Yes. I mean, I don't want to make you to read this, but she actually makes a harrowing account of what happened to her in the hands of the PKTT at page 404, 405, 406.
Yes, I did make reference yesterday to that.
Yes. I mean, if you look at 405, what she says happened to her. She says, I was handcuffed and placed in a police jet with members of the PKTT, the National Intervention Unit, and my co-director, Conrad, who was foot shackled. We arrived in Bisho and observed several members of the police and PKTT taking videos and TikTok videos in front of the police jet while we waited, handcuffed and foot shackled, on the runway for the fanfare to end. We drove in convoy to Mtanzane police station where Conrad would be kept on the basis that there was not enough space for both of us in East London, which is where I went instead. Paragraph 55. I went to the toilet to relieve myself, and the toilet would not flush. Members of the NIU and PKTT took turns to lift the toilet seat and ridicule me. I sobbed as I had no reason for being there, arrested, detained, and humiliated. And then it goes on and on. I don't want to read all of them. The allegations get worse and worse. But what do you say as the minister responsible for police when you hear allegations like this?
Well, as I said, I'm very concerned, and I would always be very concerned, because not only is it bad imaging South African police, but it actually is in contravention of a number of prescripts in terms of the conduct of police.
Yes. Then, in this section, the last category you mentioned is paragraph 73.8 of your statement. You don't need to go to it, but I just want to ask you, you said you wanted to talk to us so that we can advise you on how to handle those people who want to speak confidentially.
Yes.
Just give us a sense, because that was one of the questions that were asked by Commissioner Baloyi, to say, look, I don't know what you're talking about. And it's very difficult to make sense of it because it's very cryptic and, just give us a sense of the broad nature of what these 8 people are saying.
The broad nature of what these people are alleging, they are pointing to activities, or let me say actions, of the National Political Killings Team that could be termed as unlawful in broad terms. Then they point to different...
But what do they say the task team is doing?
Well, it's various activities per person. And they could be construed. I wrote in one of the submissions when we were talking to our lawyers that they could be construed to some of the activities, to activities that defeat the ends of justice, and also criminal activities in nature. That is what I could briefly add on what you asked me to do.
No, that's fine, that's enough. But why do they not want to be known that they are making these allegations?
They, each one of them, when I met them, emphasized their personal safety and their fears on personal safety. Some of them actually got physically manhandled, as they allege in their statements at different points, by PKTT, as they allege. And therefore, they have first-hand experience of what happened to them. And some of them allege that they know how PKTTs, they know of certain practices within PKTT that could be construed in the manner that I construed earlier.
Yes, thank you. Now, I want to come, I think it was a question asked by Commissioner Khumalo, and which again, I think left a little bit of confusion, certainly in my mind. I want to just draw the comparison between SM18 and SM17. Here, I will depend on my junior because she has done this work. Yes. Now, I think the question that was asked is, what was lacking? Yes. So what was lacking in SM18 that you would find in SM17 for you to say SM18 was defective?
Yes, I'm now able to make a direct reference because Commissioner Baloyi was actually direct in finding synergy in both. But I did, and I remember, say that it's in terms of the extent of detail. If you look at page 428, just the purpose and background is quite elaborate, which if you look at, this is, what is this? If you look at 17, yes, purpose 1, background, that it's all in one page. But if you go to, is it the next page? 128 and 129, and you read, what is this? If you compare, I'm saying post 2022, they were elaborate. Quite more, even though the purpose is found in both, background is found in both, but before 2021, 2022, they were quite elaborate. If you look at SM17, first page, second page, third page, and even the finances there, 2 pages and all of that.
Yes, I mean, and on the finances, it's not just the pages, it's also the qualitative assessment of the information.
Yes, to say what for is not
The
global.
breakdown of the costing.
It's not globalized.
Precisely.
I need some assistance for post 22. Post 22 assessments.
Go to page 455.
455, yes, that information note. If we look at the information note specifically on SM 18, page 455. The request for financial, it's upfront. That is your starting point. Request for financial authority for 24-25. And of course, in our conversation with Commissioner Kumalo, we did not necessarily refer to this one, but it is there. And that is what I had picked up and I was referring to. Right from page 1, request for financial authority. There's no assessment, there's no report, even on page 2. It's further request for financial authority, 23-24. And it's all just one page. Is it one page? 150, yes, 151, 152. So it's quite scanty. It just goes to finances, financial requests. This is what.
That way.
Yes.
And if we go to SM 18, that information note as a heading, request for financial authority for 2024-25, and refers to the National Task Team as well, the PKTT team. Provided in either document, and you say it's not the same, the one is extensive and the other is not.
Correct.
Just to check, what would be the challenge with that?
There was no challenge. It was merely to point out that the difference is in relation to the extension vis-a-vis request for money, for funding. That was the issue.
In fact, I was not off the mark because SM 17 is made up of a few documents. The actual document that Mr. Ngugaijobi referred you to is at 446. That is the document that was compared with SM 18, if you go to page 446. And you pointed out that the heading of this one at 446 is progress report and request for project extension. Do you see that heading?
Yes.
You then compared it with SM 18 at 455. That was the exercise that was undertaken.
We compared SM 17.
SM 17, but only from 446, because the entire SM 17 starts with other documents from 428. The page that Mr. Ngugaidobi directed you to is 446. So those were the two documents you compared. And both are information notes. The one is headed Progress Report and Request for Project Extension.
446 is 2021.
2021, yes. 23rd March 2021.
Yes.
Correct. Then you compared it with the one appearing at 445. 455. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
And that is now for 2024-25.
Yes.
And so we looked at the heading of the one at 446. We know that it says it's a progress report and request for project extension. But the one on 455 doesn't, the heading doesn't read that thus. I readily concede. It states request for financial authority for 24-25.
Correct.
Now, it was suggested, or I understood that it was suggested to you, and maybe I'm wrong, that there was no extension in 2024-25, and I thought you agreed. Am I correct or
Correct.
I misheard?
Correct.
If you, yes, 24-25. If you look at, stay at 455, to the bottom of that page, item 5, I read that note, the following on that note: the decision has been taken to extend the period of the National Task Team and the appointment of Lieutenant General S.D. Kumalo as the project manager for financial year 2024-25 due to the following reasons, and then overleaf it starts and tabulates reasons. So this one at 455, request for financial authority, and confirms in the body of the document that that decision to extend has already been granted. Do you still maintain that there was no extension?
Yes, if you look at that information note,
Yes.
it talks about financial requests. That is the point that we're making.
Yes.
It doesn't talk about extension, doesn't give any report as the other reports would have done.
It doesn't give reports. And I suggest that it doesn't do so because the extension had already been granted. This one is specifically for financial authority, as opposed to the other one, which was for extension, and therefore to justify extension, it provides a more extensive report and then requests for financial support. What's your comment to that?
Is that this is what I was referring to, this is what I had access to without that report spoken about, but this is what I have.
Okay. And lastly, you remember when I started, I hadn't made up my mind whether it's a question or a comment. It was suggested regarding the terms of reference. And Mr. Ngugaidobi read out the term of reference that he considers relevant to you by virtue of the position you occupy, being a member of the executive. You recall that?
Yes.
And would you accept that whether or not that particular term of reference has been met cannot be determined at this juncture because even you haven't concluded your evidence before the commission? It can only come into consideration once at least your evidence has been concluded, and we are not there yet. Would you accept that?
No, he asked me a specific question, and I responded to it.
Yes.
Despite the fact that evidence had not been led.
Yes.
Yes, and I responded.
Okay.
Yes.
And I think the record fairly shows what your response was.
Yes.
Chair, those were my questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sello.
Minister, just two short clarifications. The one and it may well be that I misunderstood your discussion with Mr. Ngugaidobi. It's about the involvement of Mr. Pikoli. You have filed an affidavit from him. Now, in your statement, I will read for you what you said at paragraph 162. You say, before finalizing the directive of 31 December, I sent the draft to my special advisor for his inputs and comments. That's what you say, and that's what you said in your oral evidence. And then you say this was part of an ordinary internal quality assurance process within the ministry. And then he reviewed the draft and he sent back to you, and I would like to read that into the record. And then I'll check whether my understanding of what you said is correct. He writes, you quote, "Thank you, Minister. May I suggest the following possible amendments? Add paragraph 2 to substitute the sentence starting with National Commissioner must develop a new plan, close quote, with the following, open quote again, I, in terms of section 2072, direct that you develop a new plan, close quote." And then you quote again, you say, he said, add paragraph 2.1, you say this is what he said, insertion or addition of ports of entry and exit. And then you then refer to add para 2.2. He said comprehensive operational and remedial action plan based on a policy of rotation of staff members. And then lastly, You say, you quote him as saying, I'm happy with the rest. And then he says something in Portuguese. I will not try to say it. In English, I think it says, a happy and prosperous new year. I have understood when you testified that this is the sum of Mr. Piccoli's involvement with your letter. You wrote the letter yourself. You told us that. I wrote the letter myself, and then I sent it to him. Am I correct in that understanding?
That's correct.
Okay. So there is no separate act where you asked him for advice on this letter. The sum of his involvement is what you describe at 162, where you say you sent it for his inputs and comments, and then he responded that way. That's the sum of Mr. Piccoli's involvement in this letter.
Correct.
All right, thank you. Now, where he says in his affidavit, I guess maybe let me not even go to his affidavit. I think you've answered me.